Selling 400,000 copies, twice as much as Adrenaline. Having done well with the album on both sides of the Atlantic, the Deftones finally had their first hit single, My Own Summer. It was now necessary for the boys to embark on their World Annihilation tour. Although a huge success, there were some unfortunate incidences on the European leg of the tour. After a show in Germany, the band had discovered thieves had broken into their tour bus and stripped it.
When Frank first started, he was using a lot of ambient sounds and different noises and things. He had this old crappy Gemini mixer and just had all this static and stuff in it. When that thing wore out, Frank was looking in books and he was like, I don't want to get another crappy mixer. He was like, I want this. And he opened the book to the Vestax and it was like this $700 mixer. Let's see if we can work it out. So we did, and I put down money to help him get his mixer. And that was the first mixer that got stolen with all of their equipment when they went on tour.
The band had also decided they would no longer be the support act for other groups. From now on, they would be the headliners.
Typically, I know the Deftones have turned down tours that were just really over-commercialized, trying to take advantage of a certain time, genre of music. They did take Ozfest when they were able to go out because they were able to play with Black Sabbath. And I think that's somewhat ironic, or somewhat actually telling, in that Black Sabbath didn't sell as many records as Led Zeppelin, or get as much airplay, but they're every bit as influential or more, And just as Deftones may not have sold as many records as Korn or Limp Bizkit, but they're every bit, if not more, influential.
Despite the touring, Chino still found time to work on his own project. Aided by 2 guitarists and a DJ, his new project, Team Sleep, had little in common with the Deftones sound.
I think that Chino went solo. I think they all took on side projects. And that's just a part of being an individual. When you get an opportunity to be totally yourself, you do it. I don't think it's because he hates any of the Deftones stuff or he wish he was doing something else. I think that it's just getting to see Chino. You get to see DJ Crook. You get to see Todd. You get to see these guys who have another common bond in music. That's totally sounding different.
After the tour to promote Around the Fur, the Deftones returned to start work on their third album. White Pony was finally released on the 20th of June 2000. The album's radical departure in sound provoked immediate controversy, with fans either loving it or hating it. The sales figures, however, showed that those who loved it were most definitely in the majority.
In interviewing the guys around White Pony, there really was a sense of wanting to do something different, to not be like this sort of sound that became cookie cutter in a way, of this really hard kind of rap metal sound, and to show that we're better than this and to really do something different. And they succeeded with that, I think. It was their best-selling record today. They won a Grammy for one of the songs, Elite, and really established themselves as being a trailblazing hard rock band that could be heavy, but also put in all these different kinds of moods and elements to it, even very slow trip-hop kind of songs, to things that are just completely in your face, to songs that kind of brought all of that together.
The White Pony album was all about that single, the Change single, and that was a big thing for them, because they had, before, they were never surrendered to doing a single type of song. I knew all of them and how they felt about doing anything that conformed to the music industry's needs. And Change was, basically, it was a way for them to do what they wanted to do and not really conform with the industry, but still have what the industry needed.
It really seemed to have worked. I mean, obviously, it was their biggest selling record so far, and took them into directions that people might not have expected.
We ended up being able to do some of the things that I wasn't even sure that any of us from Sacramento could do. Winning a Grammy, I mean, getting nominated is one thing, but winning a Grammy, something entirely different right there.
I think this is the first chance, as them being a band and being successful and being familiar with touring, that they actually got a chance to be in the mainstream media. Whether or not they wanted to be there, I'm not really sure. But having MTV recognize that the Deftones are having an album when they already had two previous kind of shocked everyone here.
They didn't want to become somebody else or sound like anybody else. They wanted to stay themselves. By the time White Pony came out, there's people all over the place sounding like them. You know, we had local bands to national groups sounding like the Deftones. In my opinion, that's just my opinion. I mean, things that other people whose videos I saw, who videos happen to get more airplay on MTV, for instance, to me were bands who were emulating the Deftones.
MTV being so flashy, they take one person, promote it, and then boom, they're gone. And I don't think that the boys are interested in any of that at all. They want to play and be a band and do what they do.
I mean, so the Deftones were definitely setting a new sound, a new style, a new movement towards making good music, not just rock music, not just, you know, trying to blend types of music, but just where everybody's background comes into focus and blends in together. That great chemistry. They once again stayed the Deftones.
They really have developed as songwriters really well, you know, and I wonder if it's, you know, Stefan's adherence to metal. Like, I mean, he's a metalhead, you know, and Chino's more interested in softer, more emotional music. So I think that maybe together they really do have an interesting chemistry.
The Deftones have managed to keep a loyal and passionate fan base due to their honest, no-bullshit approach to dealing with them. This maturity has also come through in their music videos.
Their videos have stayed consistently the way that they are, true to the heart, how they want to be portrayed at that specific time, and they're not really worried about all the lights and the flash and the promotion and all that. If that pattern continues on, they'll outlast everyone, and they'll just be more kids getting equipment from their parents and becoming rock stars, and here's going to be the Deftones at 50 and 60 and 70, hopefully, still successful, making the same videos with their underpants hanging out and spiky belts and frosted hair.
Having stayed true to their home fan base, the Deftones were soon to be rewarded for their achievements and contributions.
The band had arranged to play a show just around the corner here, a big auditorium called Memorial Auditorium, very famous hall. You know, Jimi Hendrix played there, the Beach Boys, Rolling Stones. The city had spent a great deal of money renovating the building, and there was a big deal locally around, you know, Deftones playing Memorial Auditorium. It was a very big event, and Heather Fargo, who's the mayor of Sacramento, gave Chino the key to the city, or Deftones the key to the city, and made it a, you know, official Deftones Day in Sacramento.
I can't tell you what we're doing, but we're riding around his car one day, and he said he ain't gonna get stopped by the cops. He was like, "Fool, I got the key to the city."
I was standing right there when she let go. I was begging you, please, but you still said no. I was washing my hair.
After White Pony, many people were expecting the band to immediately start work on their next album. But the Deftones are not in the habit of being rushed.
I don't know what it is about Deftones that is those multi-year long gaps between records, but quite frankly, the records are all really good, so people stop complaining once they get it.
Them taking their time, which has pretty much always been their model in everything in life, not just the band, but I'll get there when I get there attitude, has to be respected.
You know, to those guys' credit, they do other things. You know, Stefan has a metal band, G does poetry, Chino does Team Sleep, Abe has his other band. So, you know, I mean, they all have lives.
They got a Grammy, and a Grammy doesn't mean really a whole lot unless you're making good music.
And I also think it says a lot about them that they don't feel the need to just be shitting out records every 9 months. You know, nobody does that well.
Do we want to do this now? Do we want to take our time? Do we want to lose money and take our time and do something good that we like? Or do we want to rush it and get paid? And I don't think these boys